Yo, it's your boy Rush in the building. I'm out here promoting my side hustle real quick before I start the interview. It's Rush Enterprise. If you a small business owner or a guy that's in charge of a large franchise and you need armed guards or unarmed guards, just give me a call at 973-558-4659. Today I got a special guest. Um, his brand go by the name of Average Man Unplugged. I got him in the building. Um, yo, salute to you, King. Let the people know who you are, and let them know what you about.
So on YouTube I go by Average Man Unplugged. Everybody know me as Rome, which is just short for Jerome, my first name. And I pretty much just my channel was just pretty much about the everyday 9 to 5 blue collar person. Just trying to give them a better sense of awareness when it comes to female nature, and also expand their mind and travel, and just let them know that there's more options out there if you don't want to deal with all the foolery that we deal with in the West, man. So, and I'm also about bettering yourself and into the fitness and all that. That's kind of why I got my hoodie on, because right after this I'm gonna be going to the gym. So just try to be all around better, better men, man, because just because you average don't mean you can't be better.
Yo, salute to that, man. My first question for you would be, do you think most women from the United States have no respect for men? And if so, just give me the breakdown on that.
I would have to agree with that. Primarily because you see more and more women. It's funny because I was literally just watching a video about this before I came on. You're starting to see more and more women advance, more women graduating with degrees, and especially in major cities, they're starting to outnumber men based on Pew Research. So I think that plays a big part in why they're starting to not really have respect for men anymore. They think they're better than men unless they carry like a certain fancy title, or they have to own something, because I'm like, there are plenty of blue collar guys that are making good money. So, I think it's just an excuse for them to, exercise their hypergamy, which is natural. I mean, I get it, I understand that, but at the end of the day, you know, I mean, blue collar men is what make the country move. I mean, we need our truck drivers, we need our plumbers, we need our electricians. We need our guys that keep the infrastructure running. You know what I mean? So that way, you don't got no worries. So that way, when you come home and you turn that light on, you ain't got to worry about whether it's gonna come on or not. And little things like that, I think women take for granted because that it's just they just so used to having everything right at the tip of their fingers and that instant gratification and everything just right now. So with that in mind, yeah, I think women have gotten a little bit spoiled, and yeah, and because of that, and on top of them making more money in that, I think that plays a big part in why they don't have the kind of respect for men anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, man. My next question for you would be, as far as dog culture, right? Do you think that there's a hard time to discern which female is the 304, or the other, or one that's okay? Like, is it easy to discern the difference between a 304 and a normal chick? Like, or do you think all of them just look the same now? I mean, like, they all act the same and they all wear the 304 uniform. Talk to me.
Damn, I'm like, yeah, it's funny, man. It's like, yeah, it seems like you covering everything that I've already, yeah. Um, I gotta be honest with you, I remember I did a similar reaction like a few months ago where there was a guy talking to a woman. I think it was like Desirable Truth channel on TikTok, and it is getting harder to um figure out, right from left. I mean, a lot of them are wearing a 304 uniform, and they like to use this excuse of, oh, well, that's the only way we get y'all attention, or those are the girls that are getting likes on Instagram. And it's like, okay, those are the girls that are getting likes on Instagram, but how many of those women are getting married? How many of those women are getting in serious relationships? How many of those women are being taken seriously? And what else are those women bringing into a relationship outside of the way they look and box? And it seems like when you try to let women know other things that men value in relationships, the first thing that they want to do is scream oppression and, this is slavery. There's more to us than, just the traditional roles, yet men are still being held to a traditional standard, even in modern day society today. So if, so with that in mind, it's definitely getting harder and harder because I don't know about you, man, but I'm like, it's one of the reasons why I started traveling, because it's gotten to a point where I can't tell from one from the other, to be honest with you.
Word, yeah, it's likewise too. You know what I mean? If you seen the interview I did with AQ, I pretty much said the all for the streets. You know what I mean? Now, my next question for you is like, yo, I dig the brand Average Man Unplugged. Like, what influenced you to conjure up that brand for your YouTube channel?
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question, man. I'm glad you asked that question. So what I noticed is that because I used to follow Kevin Samuels like religiously, and one of the things that I noticed was that, he advocated for everyday average men, but it never seemed to be like a voice, you know what I mean, for the everyday 9 to 5 guy. And what I was noticing, just in my work life, and I was just noticing a lot of guys were very, very, very unaware of what was going on. And, as far as, just how the dating scene was, how women move and think. And, I was, consuming a lot of RP content, learning a lot, reading books. And, you know, so when I came up with the name, I was kind of thinking, well, it went out for a minute. I wanted a name that wanted to capture the everyday guy and let them, give them a better awareness as far as female nature and things that they can do to have a better success in a dating scene and with women. So when I use the term unplugged came from, being unplugged, kind of like a reference to the Matrix. You know what I mean? Being unplugged from that blue pill way of thinking and, kind of understanding what's really going around you. And, there's going to be a blue pillar born every day. You know what I mean? Especially in the United States, because as much as they scream patriarchy, it's really more of a matriarchal society. And it's kind of like, if you're not doing things the way a woman does, or, if it doesn't fit their narrative, then it's kind of like you're pretty much demonized. So I wanted to bring some awareness to, the everyday men, so that way we can try to at least, try to find a little bit more balance, you know what I mean, as far as the dating scene goes. So that's kind of how I came up with that name.
Word out. And it's funny that you mentioned unplugged because I know what it's like to be under the bread because I lived in Central America for about 2 years, and it's definitely a great experience, man. Like, everybody out there, in the States, you constantly working 24 hours, know what I mean? But out there, it's more of a chill situation, you know what I mean? And when I be explaining to the people out there or how many hours I be working when I lived in the States, it was like, yo, that's not a life, man. That's a prison, you know what I mean? And it's definitely I recommend dudes to do that, just to, get unplugged and move out the country. Now I know you a digital nomad, man, so Like, what's your favorite country to be at?
Actually, I recently just started traveling. So, my first trip was just in February. I stayed in Colombia for a month, for Carnival, and so I was in Barranquilla for the month of February, and I'm currently in the Philippines now. I've been out here for a week, so I actually just started, my traveling. But because I caught the bug. I caught the bug because I actually didn't. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Because this is how I am on my channel. I had a big fear of flying prior to about a year ago, so I didn't get on a plane for the first time till last June. So when I was still working my 9 to 5, and and like you was mentioning, I was on, if you include my YouTube channel, I was working 50 to 60 hours a week. So, I had got offered, my old job had offered me a chance to fly out to Utah, where the companies like, I don't know how you put it. That's like where they're based at. They're based out of Utah. And we went out there to visit, and they had like some kind of gathering event where they got companies from all over the world meeting up. And it was very motivating, man. And it was like, it was my first time flying. I was able to get over the fear of that. But I think what really pushed me was meeting, different walks of life from all over the world, from like Australia, Europe, uh, South America, everywhere, and all these people that got businesses, and and they just over here telling me about their life experiences. And that combined with me flying for the first time, it was just kind of like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, it's time to just quit being scared and just do it. I got a saying on my channel that if you're scared to do something, do it scared instead of being scared to do it at all and regret not trying to do it. So that's pretty much been my mindset ever since I started traveling. Because I mean, be honest with you, when I went to Colombia, like I'll admit I was a little bit scared, because it's like, you know what I mean. I know a little bit of Spanish, but I'm not as fluent as I would like to be, and I'm still learning. So, but luckily, I had some boots on the ground and a few connections already down there from people that stayed down there before. So, you know, I mean, this is I would say, if I had to choose just between my short time in the Philippines so far and Colombia, I would definitely have to go with Colombia, just because I just got a thing for Latin women, and I love the culture, and I love the food, and I love the music. I'm like, but the Philippines, they've been showing me love too. I got a huge following from Filipinas on my channel. And I'm gonna be here for like another 3 weeks, and then I'm actually going to Thailand. So I definitely plan on trying to go to as many countries as possible this year and going forward, because I've always kind of had a thing for wanting to travel and see the world. But I had to get over that fear of flying first. But once I got over that, it was like that bug just kicked in, man. So here I am in the Philippines.
Word up. Yeah, man. My man, he got a chick out there. He visited out there to the Philippines. He was telling me how cheap, the how the U.S. dollar can stretch out there because everything's so cheap out there. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
they got I think it's dope from how he was telling me, because they got like spots where Americans go to, and it's like a tourist spot, but it's like everybody's like kicked out because of the dollar, the US dollar that they use out there. And I mean, and but he did warn me though. There's a spot where the Muslims be at, where they be I guess they don't like the Americans out there, and they'll you know kidnap you, or hold you for ransom or whatever. But that's
Yeah,
just one of the
man.
cons of going out there in the Philippines. I mean,
Yeah,
um, yeah. Now, my next
definitely.
word out. My next question for you is um what we okay, why okay, okay, All right, now, like in this day and time, right? Like, most, the modern day female, she looking for an uneven exchange, right? And they're looking for a dude that's traditional. So, yo, what are your thoughts on the non-traditional female looking for a dude that's traditional? Do you think that's like an oxymoron, or you know what I mean, or they just in a delusional state? Talk to me.
You know what? I'm like, that's one of my biggest gripes with the modern woman, man. It's like I will never get this. It's funny because I've done several videos on this. It's like, how can you sit over here and say, how can you see cooking and cleaning as slavery, but you can't see a man that works, long hours, so that way you can sit at home and not see that as slavery when he could potentially lose half, if not everything, if you decide to just walk out and say you don't want to be in the marriage anymore. And then when you bring up the whole 50-50 thing, they'll say, well, you should help cook and clean. Okay, well, are you going to help do all the masculine duties that you still expect a man to do? And to be honest with you, me as a man, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want my wife out here doing anything outside of the house. I wouldn't want my mom trying to excuse me, not my mom, but I wouldn't want my wife over here trying to fix something in the house if I know I can fix it. You know what I mean? But well, speaking of my parents, and this is just how I was raised. Both of my parents worked. My mom was the breadwinner, but my mom most of the time did the cooking and cleaning. And I never once saw my mom have to push a lawnmower. I never saw my mom had to shovel snow because I just noticed Chaotic Truth mentioned the Cleveland Indians. I'm actually from Cincinnati. So yeah, shout out to the 216. And you know what I mean? My mom never had to worry about raking leaves. My mom never any masculine duty that has been traditionally done by men around the house. My mom never had to worry about any of these things. And me and my mom had this conversation, and even my mom think these women are crazy because she's like, what the hell is wrong with these women? Like, why do they think that men are supposed to, split these duties half and half, but it still expect these men to do everything that we've traditionally done? So I find that very, very, very weird and very delusional, because I'm like, you don't see men out here over here saying, okay, you gonna help me with this yard work, you gonna help me keep this keep the outside of this house looking, presentable. Like, you don't see men out here trying to split masculine duties with women. You don't see men complaining about that. So that's one of the reasons why I find it very, very delusional. You can't demand traditional treatment and you're not traditional yourself. Like, I'm like, that's just, yeah, it just don't add up, man. And it's not a fair deal. Not a fair deal at all.
Word up. Now, do you think the Passport Bros movement is a game changer? And what I mean by that is like, yo, do the modern day female got something to worry about?
Definitely, because these, these modern women cannot compete with these foreign women, because everything that I just mentioned and from the previous question, these foreign women don't have an issue with, especially where I'm at right now, like in the Philippines. And you can go on YouTube. There's plenty of plenty of Filipinas that work and they still come home and they take care of home, take care of their husband, take care of their kids, and they don't view it as slavery or oppression or anything like how women view it in the States. And I think one of the reasons why is because let's just keep it a buck, man. The women in the States, they just have it so much easier than women in these other countries. And we can sit over here and say, it got to do with the economy and and the difference in that. And I get all that. I'm not gonna sit over here and act like that doesn't play a factor. But at the end of the day, women in these other countries, they still value men, and the leadership that they bring, and they still look at them as head of the household, whether they're the breadwinner or not. And part of the reason why is because it seems like the foreign women understand that, look, I don't want to take on that role. You know, I want to be able to rest in my feminine and let him handle that. Because if you notice with these modern women in the US, you know, they say they can do it all their own, but then it seems like once they hit that epiphany stage, or, you know, right around 30 or in their 40s, then all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh, you know, I want a man that can take this load off of me. And, you know, because I don't want to be the man and the woman in my, you know, just being alone. And that's a constant pattern that I'm seeing with US women. But with foreign women, that's not an issue, because they're raised to still value a man being the head of the household and being in the household, versus in the US, it just seems to be like, you know, single, independent, I can do it on my own, I don't need no man, which is such a big contradiction, because most of y'all still seem to want a man to pay for everything. So it's like, the math, you know, like they say, the math ain't mathing. Oh man.
Yeah, that's a fact though, man. I mean, like, it's definitely things have changed. It's not like how we was coming up. I'm quite sure your parents was traditional. They did the right thing. Same thing with mine. Know what I mean, and yo, things are totally different, man. Like, yo, this dark culture movement it definitely has a strong influence in the dating scene, man. It's like, yo, it's like every time I turn around, you know what I mean? You know, I see a 304 uniform, and you know what I mean, and thought culture all over, man. You know what I mean? Shit is crazy out here, man.
Right.
You know, and they playing for keeps, man. You know what I mean? I seen the interview. I mean, not the interview. I seen the reaction video you did on the chick that was married, that was sending $300 a week to a dude that was in prison. Tell me that shit ain't crazy, son. Yo, talk to me, nigga. You know what I mean?
Bro, I'm thinking to myself, how you gonna take another man's money and send it to and your ex, and then want to justify it and say, oh, that's my friend. And then I'm thinking to myself, but that ain't your money. That's your man's money. And then to top it off, from I don't know, from what I remember her saying in the video, she said, you knew this about me. You knew I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. Okay. Even if you quote unquote don't do all the traditional things, what does any of that have to do with you sending my money to another man that can't even do anything for you? He can't even do for you what I do for you because he locked up. It just goes to
I
show
mean,
you, bro.
honestly, man, and that's the crazy part, man. Because you know you got a lot of simps out here, man, that even though they know they chick is a jump off, they still wife them up like suckers, man. That I mean, and that's why I think the red pill community is kind of important, man, because it's waking up a lot of these dudes out here and helping them to stay sucker free. Because you know, staying sucker free is my campaign. You heard? That's how we
Okay,
do it out
man.
here in Jersey. You heard?
That's what's
Um,
up.
yeah.
See, and I think that's one of the reasons why women don't like this kind of content, because deep down they want to be able to manipulate men the way you saw in that video. They want to be able to do that. I'm like, that's the reason why they want to sit over here and say, you know, guys who watch this kind of content, oh, those are red flags. No, the reason why you think they're red flags is because you can't finesse those guys. You actually gotta behave the right way. You can't just sit over there and just be willy-nilly and do whatever the hell you want and think you're gonna get away with it. Those guys are red flags to y'all, because those guys got a backbone. And having a backbone now is being seen as being misogynist, and all you know, and all the other buzzwords that they try to use to shame you out of you know, just pretty much being solid and staying on your square.
Word out. And my next question for you is that, yo, do you think they're gonna create a law to prohibit us from traveling overseas and taking our U.S. dollar and bring it to different countries, man?
That's a good question because I know recently, and I don't know if this had to do with the whole Austin Holloman situation because the timing of it was just too coincidental, man. They're requiring visas now to get into Brazil. That don't start till October, but I wouldn't be surprised if you might start seeing that. You might start seeing more countries require visas. But it wouldn't shock me. I guess it depends on how popular the movement gets because it's definitely trending and movement. So I can definitely see it happening. But what I would say is I can probably see what Brazil is doing. I could see that probably like being like one of the first steps, kind of like what Brazil is doing, where they're gonna require you to have visa documents versus just having a passport. I can see that being like the start of it, and depending on how fast this movement grows, it could potentially, they could start trying to put more restraints on it. I can definitely see it happening, but hopefully that's not the case. But seeing what Brazil is doing, I wouldn't be surprised if other countries start following suit.
Yeah, man, because it's like, I can see this movement becoming even more bigger in the next 5 years, man. Know what I mean? Because
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of dudes, they're trying to figure out how to work remotely and take that bread, go overseas, man. Know what I mean? And honestly, I think that's an ill move because it's like, yo, as soon as you leave the States, you're automatically a one percenter. Know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I say on my channel, man. That's exactly what I be saying on my channel, bro. I'm like, try to find something remote, and you know what I mean, and maximize your dollars in these other countries, bro. I'm like, and the other thing about it that a lot of people, especially female detractors, and the reason why they overlook this is because they don't got a leg to stand on when they try to argue the point is the business opportunities that you have going to these other countries, because you're maximizing the dollar in these other countries so much. You know what I mean? Like there's a guy out here where I'm at now that got multiple Airbnbs, and he's make just off of the Airbnbs he owns in the Philippines alone, he's bringing in 10K a month. Like, and that's just one of his incomes. So you know what I mean, guys. Guys out here making moves, man. I try to stress that so much. Like and I need to do a video or maybe a live about that, man, because there's more to this movement than just the women. I think it's just the women aspect of part of it that really upsets American women, because outside of that, they can't really go back and forth about any of the other benefits of it.
Word up. And and like that movement get a lot of bad light because a lot of people, not just females, but dudes hate on it too, man. And
Oh,
I want to get your perspective on that, man. Tell me why you think dudes is hating on this passport bro movement. So
man, that is, bro, that is like one of the biggest mysteries for me, because I recently just saw somebody tag me who was hating. He got a name of his channel, Sigma Male, or I don't know. And the funny part about it is that this guy is traveling himself. I think he's like in Thailand or Vietnam right now, but you over here tagging me. Um, I don't know. I didn't even watch the video. I'm like, I just saw that he had tagged me and put me in his community tab, and I responded back with a comment. Still ain't heard nothing back from him, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised. And then I had Peso Man pop up in one of my videos in the comments, only to turn around and delete all the comments that he said because he really didn't have a leg to stand on either. In my personal opinion, I think the real reason why they do it is because the passport bro movement is a hot topic, and it's an easy way for them to get clicks and views and make some revenue. Because if you've been in the RP space long enough, or you've consumed enough content, you know this one rule, man. Men fall in love with what they see, women fall in love with what they hear. You got these guys that are over here, coming down on passport bros because that's what women want to hear. If you look at these guys' audience, I guarantee you, majority, if not most of their audience is going to be women. And then the few guys that probably are watching them, that are agreeing with them, I'm like, I don't know. It's just, I can't really quite put my finger on it, because I've never been the type of dude to like de-police other dudes. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, do what you want to do, just be safe. That's all I ever tell dudes, man. Be safe, be aware, and that's it. But I
You
mean,
know, but
outside of that,
the crazy thing that catches me is when people say like, "Yo, only reason why them chicks overseas is dealing with you is because you got the bread." You know, it's the same thing in the United States too, man. You know what I mean?
exactly. That and that's one of the contradictions that I hear all the time, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, all you got to do is go on YouTube or TikTok, and all these women talk about is how they want 6 and 7 figure men. And I'm thinking to myself, they say it as if like these men grow on trees, like they just everywhere. It's like these men are very, very, very rare. I mean, I think it's what, only 10% of men make 6 figures or more in the United States. So it's like, it goes back to that 80-20 rule that we bring up a lot. So, and then here's the really bad part about it. They so quick to bring that up. And what I find funny is that, okay, attractive women are far more common than these 6 and 7 figure men, but don't none of y'all want to compete for these 6 and 7 figure men? Why is that? Why do y'all think y'all so far more special than these men, but there's way more of y'all than there are of them? And then y'all get upset and wonder why these men 9 times out of 10 got multiple women. Because reality is, you got a lot of these women won't admit it, but some of these women are aware that they're going to have to share these men, because deep down they know these men are not in abundance. So what you start that's because I can't remember where the study was from, but they had did a survey where more women were admitting to being okay with polygamy. It was like the highest percentage. It was like almost at 30%, when before, when they asked this question years ago, it was like 10-15%. But you're starting to see more and more women be comfortable with it, simply because they want the lifestyle. So, women contradict themselves. They always try to say men need to be
Yeah,
better.
that's
But
a fact. Cause there's a viral video going around with this chick that's getting interviewed, and you know, the lady that's interviewing her asked her would she date a bus driver, and her first reaction was like, "Does he own the bus?" Know what I mean? And
I
it's
was
just
just
like,
watching that.
man, it's like, you know what I mean? And like this lady, like, yo, she got some influence too within the social media circuit. So, you know, this is what they're teaching women to believe in. Know what I mean? To hold on to this ideology on. And listen, man. Yo, you gotta step your game up. You gotta get your paper up. But at the same time, that can't be the focal point for your whole relationship. Just the bread. You know what I mean? Because that's evil right there, man. It's wicked, man.
Mhm.
You don't get what you want. You know what I mean? It's equivalent to a chick getting a BBL. Majority of the dudes that's gonna holler at that chick that got the BBL is a pervert. Well, I don't want to use the word pervert, but it's what he's into, like, being sexually charged. That's the type of nigga you gonna get. You know what I mean? And the
Facts.
same thing when you seeking for that kind of energy with a dude that's based on when you seeking dude for based on money. You know what I mean? Because that's what you gonna get. You know what I mean? My next question for you would be, I do you think simping is a pandemic, man? Because I seen another reaction video from your joint, and you know, it's it's it's. I think it was based on Steve Harvey. I think. Did you do it?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
most like one of my most recent ones about him saying women don't gotta bring nothing to the table.
yeah, and that's another dude that got mad influence too. This is what he's teaching them dudes out there how to move, and you're not supposed to move like that, man. That's just a recipe for disaster. Know what I mean? And like I said before, man, I'm real big on staying sucker free, man. I mean, yo, man, I see a lot, man. Like I be seeing these six playing these niggas like fiddles, man. I be in the cut like a band-aid, being like, damn, she got another one. You know what I mean? Yo, word of my maze, man. Young chick too, man. 20s. Plain grown men. I'm like, sucker shit, man. I be, yo, this shit be crazy, man. Know what I mean, yo, what are your
Right.
thoughts on that, man? Talk
Uh,
to me.
so here's my whole thing with Steve Harvey, man. I think Steve Harvey just he really needs to stop, because if y'all do if y'all know anything about Steve Harvey's past, man, especially about the situation he's in now. All right, so you're with a woman that was dealing with drug dealers in Memphis. All right. So she's already expecting a certain type of lifestyle, right? And then cause what I was noticing, because when I had reacted to the video, I had noticed that he had mentioned something about his daughters, including her daughters. They didn't want the two to get married. So so my thing was this. Okay, so before y'all got together, y'all daughters didn't approve of it. And I'd imagine his first two daughters from, I don't know if it was the second marriage or the first marriage. I think one of the big reasons why they have an issue with him now is because of how much he's pouring into Lori Harvey, who's not even his biological daughter. And this woman sat up here and said, and Lori Harvey is what, 26, net worth of like 2-3 million, claim to be so strong and independent. Yet you want to sit over here and tell Steve Harvey that if he quits paying for all your stuff, you're going to cut him off and not talk to him anymore. And then on top of that, he wanted to sit over here and talk down on his daughters, because when they disapproved of him marrying Marjorie, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, well, I'm like, ain't none of y'all got a good man. Ain't none of y'all men y'all been with stuck with y'all. Well, why come you didn't have that same energy when Michael B. Jordan was trying to marry Lori Harvey, only to turn around and get dumped because the same daughter that you pouring into doesn't want to get tied down just yet. And then when that blew up, now all of a sudden you got all this bad stuff to say about Michael B. Jordan, but when he was with Lori Harvey, you had nothing but good to say about him. So it just goes to show you, man, this man is a straight panderer. He know what he doing. He's pandering to his audience, because the minute he don't, man, it's gonna mess up his pockets. And from the story that he told about his second marriage and how much money he lost, I guess I can't blame him, because he went from, I think they said he went from having like 30 or 40 million all the way down to like $1,700 to his name. So
yeah, because his ex-wife robbed him. Like she was swindling all his money out of his accounts and putting in different accounts or whatever. Yeah. So that's just a key lesson not to be a simp, man. So when you do simp things, man, you do sucker shit. Now I mean, straight out. I'm big on staying sucker free out here, man. Man, these hoes don't love you, nigga. They gonna take you all you got, nigga. Word of my miss, man. Sucker shit. You know what I mean?
They don't care, bro. They do not care.
They don't, man. They wolves in sheep clothing, man. Know what I mean? Shit ugly out here, man. It can get real cold, you heard? Wearing that North Face, you heard? Alright. Yo, that's everything I got, man. Yo, I appreciate you coming through. That'll be any final thoughts to the people out here, man?
Well, hey, I'm like, you know what? Hey, I gotta give a shout out to Chaotic Truth, man, because I see him in the chat, man. I'm a huge fan of Chaotic Truth. I actually did a reaction to him recently, man, because this man had a whole panel of women in their feelings, bro, and he handled it like a G, bro. So I want to give a shout out to Chaotic Truth. Everybody else in the chat. Rush, I appreciate you having me on. And you know what I mean? Hey, bro, fellas, just bro, always put yourself first, man. And the reason why I say that is because, like he said, man, you got to stay sucker free. These women are going to try you. But as long as you put yourself first and stay on your square, man, bro, you ain't, bro, you ain't gonna never have no, you ain't never gonna have any issues with women, man. If anything, they're gonna be more drawn to you because they know that they can't take you off your square, man. Because the last thing a woman wants is a man that she can budge. Because if she thinks she can budge you, then she thinks, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, she gonna think, oh nah, he ain't strong enough. So yeah, man, just put yourself first, man. Work on yourselves, man, and expand your mind, travel, all that, bro. Like for real, man. Just that's my main thing, man. Just put your purpose first, man, and I genuinely think everything else will just fall into place, man. Real talk.
Word up. Hey yo, before you leave, man, let them know how much of tranquility you feel when you leave, when you living out the states doing your own thing in them different countries, man. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just a different vibe out there. You know what I mean?
Man, it's literally night and day, man, because like I don't know what it is, bro, but it's like the people are just way more friendly. Uh it's just way more it's way more peaceful because it ain't all about hustle and bustle. You know, everybody out here living life, having a good time, got smiles on their faces, man, and they ain't they ain't getting mad over like little small petty stuff, bro. Like unless it's just something like super serious, man. It's like everything is just a breeze, man. And you know, like because I saw somebody mention, about the dollar stretching. The dollar is pretty strong, still pretty strong out here in the Philippines. It was like 54, it's like 54 pesos to every dollar, man. So you know that definitely plays a factor. You know what I mean? And man, it's definitely a peace of mind, bro. Like I'm just like, bro, like I will say this, man. I smile a lot more, and I'm always in a better mood when I'm overseas, bro. Because I had the same vibe when I was in Colombia too, man. So yeah, bro. It's man, y'all just got to get y'all passports and see for yourself, man. Because I had to do the same thing, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made, man. I've never been this happy and peaceful in my entire life, bro. Like stress free, and you know what I mean, just enjoying life, man. Like please, bro, get your passports and just see for yourself, man. I promise you won't regret it.
Word up. Man, again, thank you for coming through. This interview is officially over. Seek wisdom, practice humility, and always remain sucker free. You heard? I'm out. One.